a defense AI billionaire worth $18.6 billion, a comedian who dropped $100 million on a Malibu mansion, and a venture capitalist whose Amalfi Coast wedding featured helicopters flying in a custom piano for John Legend. These are only few of the richest black families who literally own California, and their combined wealth exceeds $50 billion. Let's count them out one family at a time, and trust me, the dynasty sitting at number 1 will blow your mind. Number 8. The Woods Dynasty. $1.4 billion. Golf empire going tech. Let's start with Tiger Woods because his story shows how California athletes are evolving beyond just endorsement checks into genuine equity ownership and tech ventures. Tiger's net worth sits at $1.4 billion, making him one of only 2 active or recently active athletes to reach billionaire status. Born and raised in Cypress, California, Woods built his fortune initially through golf dominance and massive endorsement deals with Nike and Rolex. But here's where it gets interesting. He's transitioned from the endorsement model to an equity model. TGR, Woods' multifaceted conglomerate, includes a golf course design business, a high-end mini-golf chain, and a philanthropic foundation headquartered in Irvine. The golf course design arm has created premium courses globally, generating ongoing revenue through design fees and management contracts rather than just one-time payments. But Tiger's most fascinating California move is co-founding TMRW Sports with Rory McIlroy, a tech-focused sports venture launching TGL, a new golf league that integrates software and media in ways traditional golf never has. This reflects quintessential California innovation, taking an established industry and disrupting it through technology and media integration. Woods' ability to maintain billionaire status despite the physical toll of his career and personal controversies demonstrates the durability of a properly constructed brand. His foundation has deep impact across California, particularly in youth golf programs and education initiatives targeting underserved communities. The Woods family represents the athlete-to-entrepreneur model. Dominate your sport at the highest level, convert athletic success into endorsement income, transition that capital into equity ownership and business ventures, then leverage California's tech ecosystem to build companies that outlast your playing career. Next up, we meet the media mogul who gives away TV shows for free and keeps the advertising time instead. Number 7. The Allen Dynasty. $1 billion media empire from Comedy Store to $100 million mansion. Byron Allen might be the most underrated billionaire in California, and his wealth-building strategy is genuinely brilliant in how it flips traditional media economics. Allen started as a 14-year-old comedian at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. Yeah, 14 years old performing stand-up, then built Allen Media Group into a privately held empire estimated at over $4.5 billion in total assets. His personal net worth sits around $1 billion, though his massive asset base suggests that number's climbing fast. Here's Allen's genius business model that most people don't understand. Instead of charging networks licensing fees for his shows, he gives them away completely free and retains 50% of the advertising time. That strategy reaches approximately 35 million viewers and allows him to build a portfolio of 12 cable networks and 70 syndicated TV shows without needing public market capital or venture funding. Think about what that means. He's essentially built a multi-billion-dollar advertising business by owning the inventory rather than selling content. It's the difference between being paid once for a show versus collecting revenue every single time an ad runs. In 2022, Allen entered California's ultra-elite property class by purchasing a $100 million estate in Malibu's Paradise Cove, the most money ever spent on a home by an African American in U.S. history at that time. The 3.5-acre compound features 208 feet of private beach frontage, which is genuinely rare on California's coast where beach access is usually restricted. His media portfolio includes the Weather Channel, which he acquired for $300 million, plus extensive real estate holdings across Beverly Hills, Aspen, and Maui, now valued over $500 million combined. But here's where Allen's California influence extends beyond just media and real estate. He's launched multi-billion-dollar lawsuits against corporations like McDonald's and Disney, arguing for more equitable distribution of advertising budgets to Black-owned media companies. Whether you agree with his approach or not, he's forcing conversations about corporate spending that simply weren't happening before. But what about the Lakers legend who owns pieces of the Dodgers and turned urban real estate into a billion-dollar empire? That's where we're headed to next. Number 6. The Johnson Dynasty, $1.5 billion, urban infrastructure mogul. Magic. Johnson transitioned from Lakers superstar to California's quintessential urban power broker, building a $1.5 billion empire deeply integrated into Los Angeles' physical and economic fabric. Johnson's wealth comes from Magic Johnson Enterprises, MJE, which pioneered bringing high-quality retail and services to underserved urban communities, what he identified as an untapped blue ocean of market potential that traditional investors ignored. His legendary 1998 partnership with Starbucks opened over 100 stores in urban areas, proving the business case for investing in multicultural neighborhoods. He eventually sold 105 locations back to Starbucks in a deal worth $100 million, demonstrating that urban markets could generate returns matching or exceeding traditional suburban expansion. But Johnson's California influence really shows in his sports ownership portfolio. Significant stakes in the Los Angeles Dodgers, MLB, Los Angeles Sparks, WNBA, and Los Angeles FC, MLS. That's not just passive investment. These franchises make him integral to LA's sports culture and give him institutional influence across the city's power structure. Beyond sports, his Canyon Johnson Urban Fund manages over $1 billion in assets, financing 31 real estate developments across 13 states, including the $100 million purchase and renovation of the Transamerica Center in downtown Los Angeles. That's the kind of infrastructure investment that actually reshapes city skylines. Johnson's largest asset is his majority stake in Equitrust Life Insurance Company, which he acquired in 2015. Under his leadership, the company grew from $16 billion to $26 billion in assets, proving what he calls black competence in high finance, beyond just entertainment and sports. He serves as community ambassador for the 2026 World Cup in Los Angeles, positioning him at the center of one of the biggest sporting events ever hosted in California. His businesses provide dining services for the Federal Reserve Bank and Delta Airlines, showing how his empire extends into institutional contracts most people never see. The Johnson dynasty represents the urban infrastructure model. Identify underserved markets. Traditional investors ignore, prove their profitability through pioneering partnerships, scale through real estate and institutional contracts, then leverage sports ownership for cultural and political influence. That's peak institutional power. Now, let's meet the couple who spent $200 million on a Malibu mansion and run a billion-dollar venture fund from San Francisco. Number 5. The Knowles-Carter Dynasty, $3 billion cultural hegemony. Jay-Z and Beyoncé represent something completely different from traditional California wealth. They've built a $3 billion combined fortune by converting cultural influence into institutional assets at ratios other investors simply cannot replicate. In 2023, they made California real estate history, purchasing a 40,000 square foot Tadao Ando-designed mansion in Malibu for $200 million, the most expensive home sale in California history at that time. They also own an $88 million Bel Air compound, creating a California real estate portfolio exceeding $288 million. But the Carters' real California power operates through Marcy Venture Partners based in San Francisco. Co-founded by Jay-Z in 2018, the firm grew from a $30 million fund to managing over $1 billion in assets after merging with Pendulum Holdings to form Marcypen Capital Partners. Here's what makes their investment strategy genuinely sophisticated. They practice what analysts call taste arbitrage, identifying shifts in consumer behavior before they register in market data, then investing early enough to capture massive upside. Their early conviction in Uber, for example, came from recognizing changing urban transportation patterns before venture capitalists had hard data proving the thesis. Marcypen targets culture-driven companies emphasizing sustainability, inclusivity, and wellness, with investments including Savage X Fenty and Impossible Foods. But here's the brilliance. Every entity in their portfolio cross-pollinates. Roc Nation clients become ambassadors for Armand de Brignac champagne, creating self-reinforcing economic loops where each business amplifies the others. They sold 50% of Armand de Brignac to LVMH for approximately $640 million, demonstrating how luxury brand equity they built translates into institutional partnerships with the world's largest luxury conglomerate. Their art collection is valued around $70 million, adding another asset class to their diversified portfolio. Their daughter Blue Ivy is being raised within what observers call carefully constructed wealth architecture, already appearing in Vogue and becoming part of the family's brand narrative in ways that position the next generation for continued influence. In short, the Knowles-Carter dynasty dominated music and entertainment, converted cultural influence into early-stage investment advantages, and built venture portfolios that benefit from cross-pollination between holdings, then deployed profits into California real estate at record-breaking prices. But even that doesn't touch the media matriarch who owns $100 million in Montecito real estate. Number 4. The Winfrey Dynasty, $3.7 billion. Media matriarch. Oprah Winfrey remains the global standard for media-driven wealth, with a $3.7 billion net worth making her the only Black woman on the top billionaires list in 2025. While she built her fortune through The Oprah Winfrey Show in Chicago, her business and residential life have centered in California for decades, where she serves as unofficial matriarch of the state's intellectual and media elite. Winfrey's primary residence, the Promised Land estate in Montecito, is valued over $100 million and serves as a fortress of influence. This isn't just a mansion, it's where some of the world's most consequential cultural and political conversations happen privately, away from cameras and press. The genius of Winfrey's wealth model is transitioning from high-income labor, getting paid massive amounts per episode, to long-term equity ownership. In 2011, she launched OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network, then sold a majority stake to Discovery for approximately $36.5 million in 2020 while retaining intellectual sovereignty over her brand. Her investment strategy involves what analysts call brand narrative synergy. Her personal endorsement and involvement in companies like Weight Watchers can drive massive market shifts and generate substantial personal returns. When Oprah talks about a product or company, millions of people listen and buy, creating immediate measurable impact. Through Harpo Productions, she maintains ownership over content and intellectual property rather than just collecting talent fees, ensuring ongoing revenue from projects long after initial production wraps. Winfrey's California influence is also deeply philanthropic and social. She's used her platform to ignite national conversations on reparative wealth, education access, and Black achievement, proving that media influence can create cultural shifts beyond just entertainment. Her lifestyle, while genuinely opulent, is framed through the lens of achievement and transformation, buying estates previous generations couldn't have imagined while using that platform to advocate for systemic change. So, $3.7 billion from media dominance. Now, we head to a private equity titan managing $107 billion who had helicopters fly in a custom piano for his Amalfi wedding. Number 3. The Smith Dynasty, $11.1 billion. Software private equity master. Robert F. Smith built an $11.1 billion fortune through Vista Equity Partners, which manages over $107 billion in assets, making him the most successful Black investor in American history. Smith's California connection is both foundational and strategic. After Columbia Business School, he joined Goldman Sachs, then moved to San Francisco in 1997 to launch Goldman's Mergers and Acquisitions office there. As co-head of enterprise systems and storage, he executed or advised on over $50 billion in M&A activity for Apple, Microsoft, and eBay. That Silicon Valley period let Smith witness the internal mechanics of the software industry, leading him to found Vista Equity Partners in 2000 with a strategy that's proven genuinely brilliant. Acquire B2B software companies that provide mission-critical solutions to hospitals, schools, and governments. Here's why this strategy creates such stable wealth. Unlike consumer brands that can disappear overnight when trends shift, enterprise software becomes deeply integrated into institutional infrastructure. Once a hospital system runs on Vista's software, switching costs are so high they essentially never leave. That creates what analysts call system-level ownership. Vista doesn't just own companies, it owns critical components of how the world functions. This approach has allowed Vista to post consistent annual returns and supervise over 650 transactions representing more than $350 billion in total value. The firm's portfolio includes 90-plus enterprise software companies employing over 100,000 people globally. Smith's California lifestyle reflects his position at global finance's apex. His primary residence is on Carbon Beach in Malibu, literally called Billionaires Beach, where he owned a 4,000-square-foot property with 60 feet of beach frontage that he listed for $24.5 million in 2021. His 2015 wedding to Hope Dworacek on Italy's Amalfi Coast was genuinely legendary. Performances by John Legend, Seal, and Brian McKnight, with helicopters flying in specific equipment including a custom piano for Legend and a full concert rig for Seal. Their son Hendrix Robert made his entrance on a cloud built by Cirque du Soleil's production team. That's the kind of wedding that costs more than most people's lifetime earnings. Smith was the first Black American to sign the Giving Pledge, committing to donate the majority of his wealth. He famously paid off the entire student loan debt for Morehouse College's 2019 graduating class, a $34 million gift that remains a philanthropic benchmark. But while the Smith dynasty has scaled to over $100 billion in assets, their influence still falls shy of the two families sitting in the top two category of this list. Let's take a look. Number 2. The Steward Dynasty, $12.8 billion. It Empire meets Hollywood. David Steward and his son David Steward II built a $12.8 billion fortune bridging massive IT infrastructure and Hollywood entertainment, a combination that's genuinely unique in how it creates wealth. David Steward founded Worldwide Technology, WWT, in Missouri, which now generates over $20 billion in annual revenue, including $6 billion from international markets. WWT serves as primary IT provider for more than 80 of the Fortune 100 companies, many headquartered in San Francisco Bay Area and Los Angeles. Here's what makes WWT's California foothold so valuable. They provide hardware and software solutions to firms like Cisco and Verizon, making them the silent engine behind much of California's digital economy. When tech companies need infrastructure, they're often calling WWT. But the family's most visible California presence comes through David Steward II, who founded Lion Forge Entertainment in Los Angeles, a strategic pivot from the pipes of the internet to the content flowing through them. In 2019, Lion Forge Animation won the Academy Award for Best Animated Short for Hair Love. That wasn't just creative success. It was a validating moment that secured high-level partnerships with Nickelodeon, Paramount, and Imagine Kids Plus family through first look and co-financing agreements where the Stewards retained significant IP ownership. In 2025, Lion Forge closed a $30 million investment round led by Harborview Equity Partners, with the Steward family remaining majority owners. That capital is earmarked for scaling production in Los Angeles, building what they call a category-defining leader in diverse content. The family operates with clear succession logic. David Steward Sr. oversees the IT empire, while David Steward II leads cultural expansion. This lets them move simultaneously in two directions, providing technical infrastructure while defining cultural narratives. Their philanthropy is equally strategic, supporting everything from NASCAR's Bubba Wallace to community programs through the Steward Family Foundation, ensuring their brand remains synonymous with opportunity and excellence. The Steward dynasty represents the infrastructure-to-culture model. Build massive IT services company generating billions. Diversify into Hollywood content creation. Win Academy Awards to validate creative credentials, then scale production while maintaining family ownership. And now, the wait is over for our number one entry, the defense AI billionaire worth $18.6 billion who meditates with employees and refuses to use email. Number 1. The Karp Dynasty, $18.6 billion, defense AI billionaire. At number 1 sits Alexander Karp because his $18.6 billion fortune represents a completely different kind of black wealth, rooted not in consumer industries but in the invisible digital infrastructure facilitating global security and state governance. Karp co-founded Palantir Technologies in 2004 in Palo Alto after meeting Peter Thiel at Stanford Law School. The company's early technology derived from PayPal's fraud detection systems, which famously helped uncover cyber spies targeting the Dalai Lama and India, establishing Palantir's role as a sentinel of state interests. Palantir provides the analytical backbone for the Department of Defense, FBI, and Danish National Police, meaning Karp's dynasty effectively owns tools democratic societies use to prevail in AI-driven conflicts. This isn't just a company. It's critical national security infrastructure that cannot be easily displaced. Karp's personal net worth hit $18.6 billion, driven by Palantir's explosive growth following its emergence as cornerstone of the AI revolution. He holds approximately 6.4 million shares with specific tranches valued over $938 million. Here's where Karp gets genuinely fascinating as a billionaire. He's described his corporate culture as a rare cult with no sex and very little drugs, emphasizing extreme intellectual rigor. He leads meditation and Tai Chi classes for employees, promoting holistic cognitive endurance in the high-pressure defense AI field. Karp famously rejects standard digital age trappings. He eschews traditional offices, avoids what he calls the tyranny of apps, and prefers face-to-face communication over email, which he views as decadent. His manifesto argues Silicon Valley owes a moral debt to the United States, and that 21st century hard power will be built on software rather than rhetoric. His influence extends into the highest corridors of global power. Palantir's software doesn't just analyze data. It shapes how Western democracies make decisions about national security, intelligence gathering, and defense strategy. And that's a wrap on 8 richest black families controlling over $50 billion in combined California wealth, built through everything from defense AI and private equity to media empires and $200 million Malibu mansions. If this changed how you think about black wealth in California, smash that like button and subscribe to Black Status. Also, drop a comment and let us know which family shocked you most. Catch you in the next one.